Right, and you're on Bellhaven, that's on there. Yeah, Bellhaven.
My garage, but fortunately, he was very cool and he was pretty docile.
And you're over that same area, you're in that kind of that same general area, right? So there's some kind of a population of them in that general area.
Because there's a lot of rabbits.
So please,
Just be careful.
have your staff be careful, and those playing golf,
But we're
please be
contracting
careful.
that out, right?
What's that?
You said Bushwood's going to come do that, right?
Yes.
Not our staff.
No, that's.
No.
Yeah.
No, but when our guys are just doing general
Yeah, general
maintenance, I
Yeah.
just want them to be careful because I don't want to have to do that. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
really all I got.
Jeff?
Well, despite the fact there's huge poisonous snakes, we're doing pretty good on that.
Alligators, snakes, bears? It's like a zoo.
We are, through December, we were above budget. January's been right at budget or a little bit below. We've had a little bit of weather, like rain yesterday. We've had some cooler weather, so it's kind of got us right on the edge of making our budgeted number, but I think we'll be okay or close to. But we're busy. I mean, every day is busy. The range ball dispenser is now operational. We're just waiting on the bank to clear the card swipe so we can stay open beyond the 5 o'clock pro shop closing with the driving range. We've already seen beneficial effects from it. We were already doing great on the range, and we seem to be doing a little bit better in the last 5 days since we have put the range machine out there. More people seem to want to buy the medium-sized basket, which is a little bit more money, and we made a couple extra bucks on that. The fountains were installed on the range starting last week.
They look great.
And they do look really nice. One thing, I think it's in the booklet. Excuse me, I'm a little bit on the. I was at the PGA show and I just drove in this morning from Orlando, so I'm not exactly certain, but I think in here I sent for them to put in the booklet. There's about $5,000 worth of work that needs to be done on the fountains that we've had for 11 years on the left side or the 10th tee side. New hosels and some updating. I just want to make you guys aware of that, and if you're okay with that, we'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah, they need to be done.
And then the lights that light the T-top, one has gone out. They're all same thing, 11 years old. They need to be replaced. It's $400 a light to go LED with a little bit more amplitude. So I was just going to ask if we go ahead and do that as well.
Yes.
Okay. As far as everything else, we're fully staffed. I got a great staff, especially cart guys and rangers and starters. They're terrific. Pro shop staff is doing a good job. A few hiccups here and there, but all in all, solid work by them. And the cart girls are doing decent work. They're doing the best they can. I would say on the previous mention of using staff to help with reading meters, I probably got some more experienced guys working for me that could help out with that than the cart girls.
Okay.
I'm sure some of the starters, maybe somebody looking for a couple extra hours would be willing to help out. My suggestion, and I've been around this business a long time and never really dealt with meters per se, but dealt with a lot of other things, would be maybe to hire a full-time position that handled irrigation and meter reading as part of it. And I think you myself have kind of brought that to the forefront, maybe adding in there some maintenance issues around the clubhouse, which wouldn't be a bad idea either. I talked to Lisa about a porter service that's also in this booklet, I believe. To keep the clubhouse clean and keep the bathrooms clean. I know we've talked about expansion in the bathrooms, and we want to continue on that path once we get a little bit out of season and can get more locked into that. But, those are always issues that we deal with around the clubhouse, and we could use a porter, a maintenance person, whatever you might call it, around the clubhouse 25 to 30 hours a week. just to make sure that everything is up to snuff and looks great, and we're able to maintain what we want to build and what we're talking about here in a few minutes with the expansion of the patio as well. So I would say that all those things are warranted.
I think we need to do that. Not only the bathrooms at the clubhouse, I'd like the bathrooms out on the course checked on a more regular basis. So we need to sit down and see if we can hire somebody that, and in the interim, if one of the rangers, we'll talk about that afterwards, you, John and I, Jeff, and see.
Okay.
Maybe somebody wants to do that. Jeff?
Yes.
Jeff, is there any plan to have some sort of distance recognition of where people know how?
Yeah, there's a sign there now that's got the 4 on the left. We're going to change that sign, obviously, and put all 8 on there. What I would suggest, if you've got a gun or target device, take it to the range and shoot the fountains, and that'll give you the idea. They're supposed to be from the center, somewhere between, the new ones are 75, 125, 175, and 225. And I know they're perfectly aligned right now. They'll move a little bit as we go along, but yeah, that would be a general idea. But that's what they're for. They're targets, and they're also a lot prettier than the greens that float. That all float to one side and never seem to hold up.
Right. Jeff and Chuck, I'm not sure who this is for. I was up at Duffy's last night. That parking lot really is dark. We need to work on the lighting up there, because I parked in Mike DeBrino's spot, and I have to be honest with you, there was no light whatsoever when I went over
Reno
my
has a
car.
spot?
Can you believe it? Anyway,
Actually, I believe Gene brought that up.
Is it a light issue or a
Last
tree
meeting, I
issue?
think.
no, there is no lights over there, so I think
the actual lights.
we really need to look at that, because that parking lot, and I mean, I went out last night at maybe 7:45, so I mean, if people are leaving later,
I've kind of been saying that for a year.
yeah.
You have.
And I don't usually get out at night, so that's why
Just
last night I noticed.
something to think about in that. Chuck can attest to this. So, you can't just go cutting these trees down.
Right.
Lee County won't let you. There's a shade requirement, parking lot, asphalt thing. When I looked at it, when I talked to Jeff, I said, looks like the best thing we can do is we can probably add some more lights, but we need to lower the lights that are there, because the lights that are there are above the trees.
Well-
So when the lights, and they shine down, the trees kind of block and
Make
shut
that part
down.
of the landscape project.
So lower the lights, get them, below or at the canopy level, so you can get more of that light cascading down into the parking lot. Because once again, you can't just go and remove those trees, because there's a Lee County, there's like a shade requirement, shade trees. Most of them are in the medians, so now you're talking about busting the curbs up to get the ones that are in there out. And then you're gonna be busting up the asphalt too, because you've gotta grind them out to put the new tree back in.
Right.
It's a project, that's gonna be a project when it comes time to do that.
Lisa, can you look at electricians and see about getting lights, maybe replacing them through that whole parking lot, because it really is way too dark.
Landscape. Lights out the view part. Lights out, totally out.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Trees block all.
Block all of them.
Coming out the trees.
Yeah, you-
So, but I do think because even when they're working, the trees are here and the light's up here, so you don't see it. So, for those of you who don't know, Lisa is the managing agent for the property that we purchased, so that's why I've deferred. That's Lisa. So I've deferred to Lisa to contact the electricians and get us some bids to see how that is.
Yeah,
Thank you.
any electrical work we do needs to be done before the parking lot, in case we need to cut through it, or, I mean, it'd be a shame to do the parking lot and then have to redo it.
Because the parking lot's not going to be till the spring. Correct. So we have time to get that
So
done.
not just fixtures, you want poles?
Well, I'd like to get poles, because what we have now is just too high. So have them see, can they put a lower light on that pole, or do we need all new poles? So
Not bad.
I'll put that ball in your court.
Retro, lower light.
Yeah, so,
You may want to have a conversation about transitioning them over to LED.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
That
I would definitely do that.
give you a brighter foot.
Oh, yeah.
we
yes.
did it, we're doing LED on the driving range, so I mean, LEDs,
It lights up pretty good, too.
yeah.
So, if you can come back to the next meeting with some bids, and then we can talk about it and go from there.
How would, just curious, pay for this? Could we potentially roll it into the landscaping project?
I don't have a landscaping project, I have a parking lot.
We do.
We have a landscape.
Yeah, we have names.
The Common Ground Landscape?
It's going to be one of those.
Through the general fund?
Yeah.
Through the special revenue
Yeah.
fund? I would want to keep this in the special revenue fund. This is a special revenue fund expense, so.
Yes.
I think things like just transitioning them over to LED, if that improves it, that's probably something that can be absorbed in your maintenance.
Okay,
It's not overly expensive, and we'll see a return on the electrical cost.
okay. All right, so we'll look at it and see where we pay for it. Yes, Tony?
Some thought
Thanks, John.
at least maybe trim the trees to provide the lighting, because if the district's on notice now that it's dark, you don't want to have anything happen, and then we
Good point.
are told that we
Okay.
have an unsafe premises. So
Fast.
I can understand if the village or the LDO or the DO for the property had some restrictions about tree removal, but tree trimming at least to get some light into the parking lot.
So we probably need to move on it quicker than,
Yeah.
like, you know.
It seems weird with all the shopping centers in Naples that they're just ripping out every tree.
Yeah, they're having new website development plans in Naples. What they're doing is, because the oaks have been so happy to grow and block everything out, they've been basically eliminating them and putting in magnolias and some pines and
Tearing them
others.
all up.
Yeah, if you go to a number, at least 3 that I'm aware of, large ones. But I don't know what the village, but I think at least,
Shocker,
but at least checking on the trimming to provide the lighting, otherwise, it's
Okay.
a real safety and security issue.
So we would, who would we contact? The village to see if we can just trim them, or just go ahead and trim them?
I would check with the village.
Okay.
Do they have an arborist in the village? Or, you know, Chuck?
We don't need to check with them to trim them, do we?
I don't think you need to check with them on trimming.
Okay,
Trimming.
just make, as long as you don't hat rack them or do what FPL does.
Yeah, I mean, you have to do it within good arborist guidelines. but-
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, I'll ask John to have,
Maybe he wants his own tree.
yeah. I'll check with him.
Probably over 8 feet, so we would have to.
Yeah,
Bushwood, yeah.
Bushwood, okay. I'll talk with him later. Okay. Jeff, one other thing I had for you.
Ma'am.
I know we're getting alarm bills because they're fussing with the doors and the concession stand. Can we please look into getting shutters so that's shuttered down? Because I think in the long run, for the front door, the back door, and the concession stand, because...
It's still happening?
Yes.
I thought that had stopped.
Yeah,
No.
we've got a couple. It's mainly been from the snack bar,
Yeah.
the back window of the snack bar. Somebody keeps shaking it, and then when the cops come,
There's nobody there. So, no.
We have cameras on that now.
Yeah, we do have stuff. So if, Lisa, do you want to check into that to see if we can get shutters for the front and back door of the pro shop and the concession? You know, you guys, you can take a look and you guys can. Sure. Because I think in the long run, that'll cut down on that. Okay. Jeff, that's all I had for you.
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Okay. The next thing we have is the outdoor patio, and I believe that there's a, the layout here from Master Z. I did have a conversation with, was it Joe Webb or Jack Webb? The president of Duffy's was here the other day, as well as Chris, the regional manager. They are very much on board for doing this. And yes, Phil, they do like the idea of the fire pit.
Knock me over with a feather.
I know. They even actually said that they would,
Is this the patio where people sit outside of Duffy's?
we are actually planning on expanding the patio.
Okay, so that's the patio you're talking
Yes.
about, okay.
And they did say that what they would like to do is purchase Adirondack chairs to put around there. So they're very much on board with that. I told them when we got to that point, we would know. And I also told them that if we go ahead and do this, that we would be digging up their patio, and that would be the first thing replaced so that they wouldn't lose all their outdoor stuff. I don't remember the time frame that he said it would take him to do that.
A couple days.
Yeah, so it wouldn't take long for them to do that. So, Chuck, I'm not sure how we proceed with this. Can we go ahead and approve this to be done, or Tony?
I guess part of the discussion is, I was trying to figure out from the diagram where everything it's relative to the sketch of the premises and patio.
Okay.
These are exhibits A and G from the lease. You can pass them down, and you can see the patio is on here. Lisa, do you want a copy of that?
Oh, sure, just throw your stuff.
Yeah, so there's a lease right there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I was trying to figure that out relative to...
Oh, I have two. How do I get two?
Well, let's do exhibit A and G.
We're good.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
A is from the premises, that's from the lease, as to what the lease premises, and G is the patio sketch, it really calls out the patio more.
Okay.
And so when I saw this in the agenda packet, I was trying to, and then also I have the surveyor's creation of additional area, and I was trying to figure out how that relates to the sketch, and I'm not quite sure where.
Well, there's the patio.
Oh, this little,
Yeah, that's the current patio. Yeah, top right corner there.
Top right corner.
so where am I looking? Like this?
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
this.
Compared to that.
I had it upside down. That helps, okay. Okay.
That's true. That's. That is.
This is your outline.
Okay, I got it, okay.
There's the cart path.
So it'd be all this additional area
This stuff
here.
Right.
Yes.
This is the existing.
Yeah. So the square foot, I was just trying to again get the bearing on the square footage.
So I know the total replacement square footage was about 50,000, wasn't it? Or 5,000, I'm sorry.
5,000 additional.
So additional or taking up and replacing?
Oh, this is different.
No, the patio is only 688 square feet, so he's taking that out, and then there's an additional, I think it comes out to almost 5,000 square feet when it's finished.
Right.
So it's approximately 5,000 square feet. Finished.
Okay, yeah, and what I also brought, I brought the surveyor diagram or sketch he did where he overlaid what it would be proposed, additional area would be, and frankly, underneath here, you can see the existing patio line.
Okay.
So, I don't know if this will help with the view. I guess that's the question.
Lisa, you want a copy?
Is-
Oh,
Yeah, it looks like the surveyors
Just take
got more of a domed type outline.
Yeah, not exactly the way we,
And the sketch looks more like a hatchet or something.
So it's it's 14, for example, you have the surveyor that maintained the current paver walk width, and this is increased, I guess, to 14 feet, is that it?
Yes.
It looks like the handball called. Yeah, those come to me clear, right, on you.
yeah, it should just be straight.
I guess, Jeff, was that in the field, and Lisa, as how they came up with that configuration or so?
Well, I don't know exactly, like, so the sidewalk goes to the end, and then the current patio is a little bit in this way, so that looks about right to me. I mean, here's your patio going down the back of the building, and then the current patio is that smaller square, and then the whole, beyond that line at the top, that would be the patio area, the new patio area that's created. The sidewalk is going to come up, that's all encompassed in that new area.
And so I guess if the board's inclined to say yes to this, we had a conversation with Jeff, Lisa, Phil, and I about how to approach Duffy's with regards to, we would need to amend the lease to have a new Exhibit A and Exhibit G for the patio sketch. So I think we need something cleaner that's similar to what we have here.
there's really nothing on Exhibit A and Exhibit G as far as the additional patio.
No, he's just pulled that off the existing.
No, this is the existing lease, but we would need to amend it.
I see, okay.
Yeah.
The patio is indicated in there, in the lease, it talks about the patio, who's responsible for cost and expenses, we had that conversation. So the exhibits A and G would need to be revised
Right.
to reflect the square footage and then the sketch, so I guess we need somebody to...
Want to call precision for whoever did this? And
Yes.
just have them revise the patio?
But I think we also have to give them what's it going to look like, because we're looking at two different configurations, or I am.
I am too.
Yeah.
Again, the surveyor just took it and, made it
Right, made it
smooth.
rounded.
I'll call it smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, this is kind of what we initially discussed, but either way, this is the first time seeing this iteration here.
Right.
And I see something about a base stone wall, I don't know what that is, but Either way is fine.
Well, because the way it's sloped, they have to build it up a little bit.
Yeah, I understand that. It has to be done either way, is my
Right, so
point.
they have-
Yeah.
And this might be easier on this more geometric, squared
Yes.
off look versus the rounded, because to put the wall in might be a little easier and the steps.
Yes.
So,
And we still have the 14-foot area for ADA compliance.
Right.
So people can still get to the patio and not have to deal with the steps. So
Right.
that's why we did that 14 feet.
yeah.
Jeff,
Yeah, that
have you
was-
seen this, or?
I don't know if they've seen, actually, this one,
This
but
one.
I was speaking with them the other day, and they are all on board for this. So I don't think we'll have any problem with the adjustment with the lease. I mean, they are ready to start it tomorrow. So we just need to get with them, because I spoke with the president and the regional manager, and they like the idea of the fire pit. They're talking about how they're going to arrange it out there. If they have a larger area, they can hire more staff. So they truly are on board for this, so.
Okay, one part of it is we're going to the lease, I made some little bullet points on the lease. The one point says, Duffy says exclusive use of the outdoor patio area. So we just want to make sure we.
And that's fine.
notice that. That's in the lease. And
Yes.
we talked about community use and.
Well, and community can use it when they go up there and buy something from Duffy's.
Right. That's exactly right.
Just wanted to make sure that that was.
Oh, yeah, no, it is-
We've had a lot of discussion.
Yeah, no, we're not going to.
No, we're
Like
not
that.
using it. That's, if, it's to extend their business, which will ultimately increase our revenue at the end of the year. So no, it's strictly theirs. They know that. They're already talking about how they're going to staff it and set it all up, so.
Okay, I just want to make sure, I know we've had a lot of discussion about that.
Oh, yeah, no, it's community use if community's going up there to buy something from Duffy's.
Okay, we just need, amend the lease, get their consent to it to make sure there's no, and then I guess one other thing we talked about that in the future matter is some rules and regulations generally, but that in part two.
Yeah, drafting that up,
Okay, so,
since they didn't really ever have it.
The lease references rules and regulations.
Yes, it does.
so as far as starting this, we need to wait for the lease approval?
Well, I guess it's going to require limited development order building permit from the village. So I guess the question is to at least authorize that to begin if that's necessary.
Is that requirement on a commercial property? Because it's not on a residential.
But it might, because I guess you're taking some pervious surface, making impervious, and some of this grassy open space area.
It's dirt.
It's dirt. Yeah, I mean, and so.
Dead grass.
There's grass.
Yeah, and so I don't know what the village may get, they're kind of fussy with releasing things.
I don't know, I mean, I would check with the vendor and have him.
Apply for necessary permits.
See if he's a permit or what he needs to.
That's what we talked about last week, or last meeting. was having that
He
meeting.
indicated he's never pulled a permit.
I don't think he would.
That doesn't always mean that you don't have.
No, but he,
I didn't say that, I'm just repeating his words to
but he's done
John.
other commercial plots, I mean.
He did ours.
He did ours, and
Yeah, he did the
He's
purchase.
done paperwork around the clubhouse
He
for
did all
years.
that.
he did that, he did the driving range.
He did the driving range,
He
he's
did
done a bunch.
the tent, so,
I don't want to kick this can down the road any further.
No.
We're running out of seasonal time, and that's what this patio is for. So we're losing revenue and time here. So I'd like to move this forward now, if we can.
Yeah, I think an approach would be to authorize this work and authorize the chair to sign an amendment to the lease as appropriate to change the exhibit references and square footage allocation for the patio, exhibits A and G in the lease.
Yeah, that's fine. And how long is that going to take?
I can get that done next week.
Okay. And then you get signed off on
But
it?
do we need a final drawing, a legitimate drawing to put in the lease, or just?
Well, we need to take this and
We
then
can just take this.
whatever this is and make, yeah. So that's
Send me that and I'll have Precision added on.
what, okay, it's in the,
He's got it already in his CAD files anyway.
it's in the lease.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the one that you actually approved for the new patio. Okay.
That's a handwritten
As long as it's
sketch.
approved.
Just that one in the book?
Is that really what it's going to look
The
like?
squared off one versus the,
Yeah, I think so.
You know what, the vendor is for the vendor, what's the vendor's name again?
Master
Master
Z.
Z.
Master Z.
Send to Lisa the sketch drawing diagram, what they propose, so Lisa can send it to the CAD.
That'd be great.
That's it.
Something
Okay.
from you guys that says that's the right one.
And send it to me also at the same time, so we can make sure we do the amendment.
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
Because that's
Okay.
really ultimately the hurdle, right? We just have to have the lease updated with whatever drawing it's going to look like.
Yes.
Correct?
You need square footage and the picture.
John, Jeff, do you have this? Or is
No,
it
this was through John.
through John?
Well, I can, as soon as we get out of the meeting, I'll call it.
Okay, that and about trimming the trees up front by the lights. Okay.
Well, so, in speaking to Master Z, if I tell him start in 2 weeks, you think we'll be good to go in 2 weeks?
Well, Duffy's, I think, will act pretty quickly, correct?
Well, in speaking with them the other day, they were ready to,
I would say that if you plan on 2 weeks mobilization starting that week, because the amendment should be relatively simple.
okay. And I think even Derek said just send it to him email and he'll approve it via email. So they really are truly on board for this. Okay.
Hopefully, we'll start in 2 weeks.
Furniture, you guys are okay with whatever furniture they put out there? Hopefully it matches
Yeah, well, I
Matches
think
what?
we will.
what they have, or they
Yes.
start over again, but
I think they're going to do,
I think it needs, I looked at their furniture the other day, I think it needs to be updated.
Yeah,
And I'd like to see what they plan to do. I think
Yeah.
we all would.
I've asked them for, pictures
Pictures.
of what they plan to do, so.
You know what I would say, the motion to release would be to amend paragraph 1.1D to the extent it talks about the patio, amend exhibits A and G to reflect the revised sketch of the patio area, and I believe that's all we really need to do.
I make that motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Rich, you had a question?
Yeah, just 2 points, please. I may have been out of the room. Is this expansion going to be the CDD responsibility, cost-wise, or the tenants, Duffy's? And if it's the CDD, do you have a projected amount of the expansion?
Okay, I believe this is coming from the reserves of the income that we've received from Duffy's for the rent.
Yes, we're paying for it. CDD's paying for it.
Yeah.
And the projected amount?
About 50, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What was it?
It was about 50.
50,000.
Plus or minus 50,000.
About $50,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. All right, so that's that one. Okay.
Are we going to landscape around it?
Yes.
Yes.
And we do some lighting effects too, but,
Low level
So
stuff.
the existing landscaping is being removed.
yes.
Well, it'd have to be removed for them to do that.
Yes.
Okay. All right, we're good with that? We can move on? Okay, Chuck, the Johnson Engineering, I'm going to leave this one for you.
Yes, I did reach out to Johnson Engineering and received a proposal to take us through the process of creating a project manual for the upcoming curb and gutter and sidewalk repairs along with milling and repaving of the community roads.
Okay.
And so the proposal in here covers all of the design elements of the project, the preparation of the project manual for bidding purposes, since this will far and exceed the bidding threshold within the statute. Also provides for doing some pavement core testing, permitting with the Village of Estero, the bidding assistance during the actual bidding process itself, and any clarifications and interpretations that are necessary during that process with your contractors, shop drawing review, and finally, the construction engineering inspection services, also known as construction management, so they would manage the contractor once you've awarded and coordinate the whole project through its completion. So total amount in here with those various tasks that are part of the overall proposal is $103,237. You'll recall that we had issued a separate tax exempt bond last year when we did the taxable for the building itself in the amount of approximately $2 million. So that's what this
So
would
that's
come-
where this is coming
This is what that would come out of, yes.
Okay.
That was my first question.
Yeah.
I do have a couple more.
Okay.
Now, I'll use your words, because, I'm reading this, and I'm like, all right, they're managing the project, right?
Yes.
Yes.
The same words you use, but then...
I'll help them through some of the legal portion of it on the front end, but they'll actually manage it.
On page
Contractor work.
3, Exhibit A, page 3, at the top, it says consultant has no contractual authority with the contractor and as such has no control over the performance, timing, or quality of the work. I just, to me, if we're asking them to manage it, I think they need to have some control.
They will have control over the contractor, working with the contractor to ensure that it's organized and moving in the right direction and hitting the certain deadlines, the milestones that we establish for the project. So
I think we need to put that in there along with some kind of like qualitative, measurement of like, what are they going to do to make sure that the road that's being put down and we're paying $2 million for is going to last us for an extended period of time?
but that's part of the task 4.0. And the final paragraph on page 203. It's their license, their inspection, their license on the line for the quality of the work that we're getting, what we're paying for, and consistent with standard DOT specifications.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks good.
To me, I read that and I think, we're hiring them to manage it.
But
It
they're
almost
not.
sounds like they're saying, well, that's fine, but, I envision it, if I hire somebody to manage something for me, I'm telling them, look, I want it done, I want it done to standards. If you see something wrong, you need to tell them to fix it or to do it properly. And I read that, maybe I'm overreading and...
I think what that's really pertaining to is that they would have to engage the owner in terms of that level of oversight, such as, potentially terminating or putting the contractor on notice because they're not meeting expectations. They don't have that level of control.
Okay.
They are managing the process.
At that point, they would come to us and say,
Exactly.
this is what we're seeing.
We're not completely out of the picture.
Okay.
All right, that just sort of...
That clears that up. Okay.
Madam Chair, a few questions or comments, maybe, Jeff, clarification. On page 5, the first sentence under betterment,
What,
that's out of the basic document.
the main document?
Main document.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I've not seen this before. If they mistakenly leave something out, they're not responsible for the cost of the constructor adding the component to the required. Yeah, and so I guess does that mean they're not responsible to fix the design?
Yeah, I wouldn't get too caught up on this portion of it. The scope is really what I would focus on. We'll cover that with our own agreement.
Okay, I was going to say, thank you.
Yeah.
That was my second question.
The exhibits like A, B, and C are going to be the scope, and those will go to the back of our agreement as a
The usual insurance?
Yes.
One other aspect too, it says, again, in the same document, under regards to section 4, it says, the district is responsible to obtain, secure, and make application for permits. And when you get into the scope of work, under Exhibit A, page 2, it says they will prepare the necessary documents and exhibits. So I guess just for clarification, are they going to prepare and we will submit?
They'll prepare and submit. What I'll do is I'll sign off on the LDO application, and I'll provide them with the check for whatever the expense is, the review.
Okay, we may want to then change the test 2.0 to make sure, because at page 3 of the main agreement, it says that we will obtain, secure, and make application for all permits. And test 2.0 just says they will prepare the necessary documents. So we can just
We'll make sure
submit with cooperation and coordination with the owner.
Page 3, right there.
Okay.
So I suggest that on page 2
Says
of
obtain
3
and
of
secure
Exhibit A, that test 2.0 will prepare necessary documents and exhibits. The task 1 to coordinate and submit on behalf of the owner, something like that.
Yep.
Okay.
And then you do what you said.
Yeah, then we have
Standard.
Yep.
Chuck, this doesn't include the parking lot at all. This is just within the community,
No,
correct?
this is the main
I mean,
part.
We've got two separate projects here.
Yes, sir.
So we need to accept this with the changes?
Please, if you're
Okay.
prepared to do so, please do.
I'll make the motion to accept this with
A second.
said changes.
You have the second.
Adam? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Chuck, I got a question, just out of curiosity. I know we use Johnson Engineering for everything. Have we ever thought about going out to bid for something like this? On an engineer?
No, you did in the selection process, going through the CCNA process. So you had that agreement with them, and these are just supplemental agreements with that particular vendor. At some point down the road, certainly at any time, you can change vendors. We have to go through what they call the CCNA process, though, when it comes to engineering services.
Okay.
So we're good with that. Okay. The liability of the wall damages for Hurricane Ian. Tony, I think we decided last week that we really were not responsible.
That's correct.
Okay.
Under Florida law, absent you being aware of a disease or defective tree or vegetation, you don't have any liability that falls over or damage to somebody else's property.
Okay. So,
Case
sorry,
in point, my oak tree fell and landed on my neighbor's roof, and it was healthy.
okay.
So I don't know.
So you didn't have to fix his roof. Okay. Let's see, where are we? Okay. Corkscrew Pines, we have, Tony, you want to come up and introduce yourself and bring your stuff? This is Tony from... Al. Why do I keep call you Tony? Al, okay. They're here to discuss what they, the 24-hour gas station, 7-Eleven. Al and I had a discussion with Mike from 7-Eleven, and there were a couple issues, so he's asked to come to the meeting to explain what their intentions are, what they're looking to do, and